In this video, I'll be explaining my process of obtaining 32 orders in Carnival 3.4 with a bot. I'll be using a different run than the one in my previous video, because even though the score is slightly lower due to tips, I think I played more efficiently in this run and it is better to talk about. I'm going to start by laying out the overall structure of your cycles, so you know exactly which one I'm up to when I'm explaining, as there's different rules for each one. There are 8 cycles where we serve 4 orders in each for 32 orders. I like to call them Cycle 1, Opening, Cycle 2, Cook 4, Cycle 3, Prep, Cycles 4, 5, 6 and 7 are almost identical and I call them the rounds, and then Cycle 8 is the ending. I would also like to mention that I'm using a mod which guarantees 3rd and 4th order as donuts, as it is essential that both turn up in the opening cycle. Knowing this, there are 3 different types of double hot dog starts you can have: 0 onions, 1 onion, or 2 onions. They are all technically playable, and I think it is beneficial at the beginning for you to play through each one to get a feel for the consequences. I will not be covering how to do this in this video though. After I played through all starts for about 4 days, I decided that it was time to just restart for 1 non-onion and 1 onion order in the first 2, which is not uncommon at all and the most ideal start. The bot will chop 6 onions with you, and I believe the places that I have thrown them all is the most efficient for my cook times and pathing later on. I leave the bot in the cannon here while I finish chopping the bun. This is because I won't have time to do this later, and we're going to be waiting on donuts to finish anyway, so I am not losing any time by doing so. Some people prefer instead to go down and save an onion here, but I don't because it cooks the stacked onion too quickly and then I lose plating flexibility for the next cycle. At the time that this stacked onion cooks, it can be used for most likely the first assembled order the next cycle, or the second if you have a plain hot dog in your menu. Another reason why I like my bun to already be chopped is because I want to be standing next to the button to get it to the most optimal colour for my next cycle. In each cycle, you will most of the time wanting to be plating an onion order first. I know that the yellow onion has already shown up, so my options for the next cycle are a plain onion or a red sauce onion. I want to change the sauce to red if the menu permits it, which it confirms to me conveniently, so I don't even have to guess here. Now it's time for cycle 2, the cook 4 cycle. I don't think I need to say much because this is so heavily choreographed, so just follow the same cook times for your extra 2 hot dogs as I do here. I will point out, you do not need to move this bun on the floor to save the right pot. You can squish yourself in there and save yourself time. You can see in my menu here that 2 onion orders have already come up. In a usual cycle, I may cook an insurance onion here, but I am almost 100% sure that another onion isn't going to show up because I already had the yellow onion from the first set in the previous cycle, so I'm just not going to cook anymore. The 2 pots that you independently cook finish in time to assemble 2nd and 3rd order. After the 3rd order is assembled, you're going to want to launch the bot and get your raspberry flavour in. You also at the very minimum want to move your middle raspberry to the chopping board, so you don't have to do that later. I think that is a better use of time and pathing than beginning to chop the chocolate, as the movement here is kind of awkward and the bot is going to throw an extra hot dog in the line of fire here. Here you can see I'm out of the way of the flying hot dog and I have the red semi-chopped already. I can then launch the bot and then prepare 4th order, whatever that is. After that, I'm going to double throw these onions so that 1 cooks and 1 is sitting ready to cook, because it's likely that I'm not going to need both of them straight away anyway. After you do that, your priority is to get the chocolate in the bowl. I had a bit of extra time because my last order to assemble was only a plain hot dog, so I opted to finish chopping the raspberry in this time, but that's not necessary at all. Just get the chocolate in at the bare minimum. Now we are up to cycle 3, prep. This is the only cycle where the bot helps you to chop buns, so you have to set yourself up as much as you can in this cycle. That means setting up all the onions and cooking both the donuts. The red can be immediately cooked here and will finish mid-round. In this cycle, it is possible for 1, 2, or 3 onions to show up. Most of the time it's 1 or 2. At this point, when we give the dishes to the bot, the pan in the middle could either be full or empty. If it's empty, you need to cook an onion here using it. If it's full, that means only 2 of the 3 onions have appeared from the first set, so you need to cook another onion after you've emptied the first pan. As you can see, I'm assembling the onion order first, and I'm then cooking the chocolate donut, which will finish as the bot is serving. After that, I assemble the other orders as I would normally in any other factory run. Usually I finish assembling third order before I put a flavour in. I think I just threw it in here because it was already chopped and I was next to the button anyway, so that works. But putting in these flavours at this time is so important. If there is one thing to work on that will fix the rest of your pathing and beat times, it is getting this flavour in sometime between third order and the bot finishing serving everything. Early flavour means the bowl can be cooked the next cycle, and we want that. Any beeping onions should be saved now or just after you finish giving the fourth order. You won't have time for that later, but that's probably obvious. Here, I gauge I have some extra time, so I pre-chop some chocolate to get myself ahead for the next cycle before I go to chop the onion. I can usually chop this onion in the time it takes the bot to serve 2-ish dishes. Now, my dear chefs, we are up to the most fun part, the rounds. This is where we cook 3 hot dogs per round. One of those we do entirely independently. In these cycles, I like to save 1 hot dog here because it is timed perfectly to launch the bot. Some people also like to throw in this spare hot dog, but I don't because I feel I am not fast enough to do this without delaying the launch of my bot. I instead beeline straight to it after giving dishes and cook it straight away. This hot dog will be finished cooking in time for plating third order, so keep this in mind. I think it's important to chop both buns here as it saves time on awkward inputs later, and it's extremely possible to do so without the bot breaking from slowness, unless you really mess up here. In these rounds, it's really nice to either get a plain hot dog or an onion dog in your first 3 orders, so you can come straight down and plate it without having to go back up for sauce. It also then gives you time to cook the donut, which we should be doing every round. If you have 3 hot dogs up the top, the second order you're going to plate is also going to be a hot dog, and you're going to use an already assembled one to do so, not the one cooking in the pot. And then the third order hot dog, as you remember, is the hot dog that has just finished cooking. Similar to the prep cycle, I'm going to put the flavour in after third order if I can. Otherwise, I have to find some time to do it when the bot is serving. Now here, you can see me kind of hesitating and spinning around. It's because truthfully, I had a concentration lapse because I had some spare time I was trying to fill, and all I really should have been doing was just standing at the button. So I ended up just moving this onion into a weird position for no reason. This is a good place to pause though to look at my pans. This is the optimal position you should aim for ending a round. 1 cooked in the middle, and 1 empty, about to be cooked, with this unchopped onion that the bot has just given you. I ended up fluffing around a bit more and then realizing I had to remove the stray onion from that tile that's not supposed to be on, so I cooked it in place of the unchopped onion and then basically got rid of the other one like this. Yeah, I don't know guys, it was probably 3 AM when I did this run, but I managed to salvage it and have everything back and reset before the next round cycle. Now it's troubleshooting time. I have 2 onions cooked, and I know in my head that the fourth order probably isn't going to be another onion, because that's pretty rare. And also, I only have 1 spare onion left. So I'm pretty confident that the fourth order is either going to be the chocolate donut or just another random hot dog. But I don't like that my spare onion is sitting on a tile that a finished fryer is going to need to sit on. I also know that I would like to get my pans back in the optimal position for the next cycle, which means I need an extra onion pre-cooked if I can. Looking at my menu, I have a simple plain onion order and a donut in it as well, which is a straight run across the bottom and really easy to plate. I know I will have time to save the onion when it statistically doesn't show up, so based on this, I cook the onion after assembling first order. For those of you wondering, yes, this onion will finish in time for fourth order if it is an onion order, and yes, you're going to have to save it before the next cycle begins if it's not. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but make sure you're cooking your donuts every round. You can do it any time after the first or second order, as long as you're quick about it, and it'll finish as the bot is serving. Now, in this particular cycle 5, I have finished mixing and cooking 6 of my donuts that are definitely showing up on the menu, and I have no flavors to chop, which is really nice. That's why I'm taking my time here to get my pans in position again to start a new round cycle. Now, I saw my menu here in cycle 6 and just knew that it was going to be a hard cycle. No plain hot dog, no plain onion, no donut. So I'm going to have to do 3 full revolutions here for sauce before the bot gets back. And I need to put that chocolate in too. When your menu looks like this, you just can't make any input errors. That's it. Thankfully, I got through with no problems, and again, I have my flavour in and the onion pans in position. In my opinion, if your kitchen doesn't look like this after a round cycle, you did not finish the round properly. You may have survived on the surface, but there are invisible tasks that you left undone, and that will have consequences later. Alright, going into the second last cycle, there is absolutely nothing here that I haven't already explained. I guess I could point out here that I got double chocolate. This was only possible to do since I kept on top of my donuts from the beginning. Put your flavours in and cook your donuts, people. It will make a lot more menus playable, and that means a lot less restarting, which is what we want. Okay, and we have reached the final 8th cycle, the ending. In this cycle, the bot doesn't need to do anything in the donut box, which means that it's going to hop into the cannon a lot quicker. I don't want to delay it, so in this cycle I don't scoop a hot dog, I just fully chop the bun, normally backwards chopped so I can move to the other side of the map quicker, and then I straight away launch my bot. Because of this, the plates are going to spawn in a group of 3 and then 1, instead of a stack of 4, which I knew, so I gave the bot the plates straight away so that it didn't break. Of course now, you should scoop and cook your extra hot dog as quick as possible. This is another point where you are allowed 0 input errors. I like to chop all the buns early to save my pathing later, but it really does cut it fine with the bot's plates, so don't choke. And here I am, just preparing my orders just like any other round cycle. And me emoting really excitedly because this particular run was my first 32 orders that was above 3,500. And yeah, that's how you do it. There are actually some scenarios that this video did not cover, so I'm going to show you these now because I think they're pretty helpful. In any cycle except prep, it is actually acceptable to assemble a plain hot dog order first before your sourced onion order, like I'm doing in this example. This onion should be able to beep and not burn because it was cooked just prior to the bot coming back to the top left after serving. If you cooked the onion earlier, like before you assembled fourth order in the previous cycle, then you won't be able to take advantage of this menu because the onion will burn too quickly. This next one was a game changer for me, and it was how to troubleshoot 2 empty pans at the end of a round cycle. This is the cleanest way if you have time, and it will get it all set up within 1 cycle. So you want to cook 1 onion before assembling fourth order in the previous cycle, and then cook your chopping board onion like normal. When you give your bot the dishes, You then need to take off one of the pans, and voila, your pans are back to normal. This next one is if your pans are just so scuffed like mine are here. Yes, I have one onion cooked, but it's not in its usual optimal position for assembling orders quickly. Instead, I have an empty pan here, and it isn't even on the stove. It would take way too many inputs to fix this in one cycle, so I'm actually going to split up the fixing over 2 cycles. When you give the bot dishes in a round cycle, you have time for one, and only one, onion movement. So that's either cooking one or saving one. Not a whole fancy taking this pan up and cooking. That is too much time loss, and I'm not exaggerating. You can see in the following cycle, I choose my movement to be pulling the stray pan upwards, and bam, my pans are now fixed. If you apply all these tips, you should pretty much be able to manage anything that the menu throws at you. Phew, this was a long one. If you have made it this far in the video, congratulations! You have earned +1 bean points, and that means you're going to get your 32 orders. Anyway, I'm going to go get a drink of water now.